My kids meet me with that when they walk in the door now. Noxie loves it. And then Noxie tries to see if everybody else can do it. He tells Dad he can't do it.
There's a woman whose face didn't just sell magazines. It defined an era. Lips that reshaped global beauty standards. Eyes that could silence a room. A presence so magnetic, it turned attention into obsession. She became the blueprint. But here's what nobody saw. Behind the covers, behind the flashes, behind the myth. A body worshipped by millions, quietly at war with itself. Scars, not metaphorical, real. Blades drawn across her own skin in silence. At 38, she removed both breasts. Later, her ovaries. Not for vanity, not for image, but to survive. The most desired woman on earth, fighting not to be killed by her own biology. And it didn't stop there. Bell's palsy, half her face paralyzed. The very face the world idolized suddenly betrayed her. This wasn't just a life of fame. It was a life of constant negotiation with pain. At her peak, she was untouchable. $20 million per film. The highest paid actress in Hollywood. A global humanitarian voice that reached presidents and war zones alike. She built something even rarer than fame. A family that looked like the world itself. 6 children, 4 continents, a symbol of love without borders. It looked perfect. Too perfect. Because then, everything collapsed. A violent incident at 30,000 feet. A marriage that shattered in front of the entire world. A legal war that stretched nearly a decade and still isn't over. Children dropping the...
But before we get started, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe button, because you never know when YouTube decides to hide my videos from your homepage. And of course, leave your thoughts in the comments section. Now, let's jump into it. Father's name. A French chateau turned into a battlefield. An empire worth over $800 million, split by silence and accusation. And now, in 2025, she stands alone, watching her children grow up and walk away into lives of their own, while she remains locked in courtrooms, fighting a man who once promised forever. So how does this happen? How does a girl abandoned at 1 year old become the most desired woman alive and still carry wounds no spotlight could heal? Why remove the very body parts the world envied? What really happened on that plane, the moment that ended Brangelina? And how does someone who gave everything to the world end up facing it alone? To understand the fall, you have to go back. Back before the fame. Back before the beauty. Back before the mythology. Back to a house where everything broke before it even began. Angelina Jolie's story doesn't start on a red carpet. It starts with absence. A father who didn't just leave, he vanished. Jon Voight was everywhere, except where it mattered most. Birthdays came and went without a call. Christmas mornings arrived without him. The man the world applauded was missing from the only audience that needed him. Her mother, Marceline Bertrand, tried to fill the silence. She gave everything. Love,
time, energy. But love, even at its strongest, cannot replace abandonment. Money was tight. While her father lived in Hollywood comfort, Angelina and her brother moved from apartment to apartment, always one step from collapse. She learned early. Absence isn't just emotional. It's financial. It's structural. It shapes everything. School didn't save her. At Beverly Hills High School, she didn't fit in. Too thin. Too different. Too much. The features the world would later worship were the same ones that made her a target. She wasn't admired.
She was isolated. I was the weird kid, she would later say. Not glamorous, not iconic, just alone. And then came the real battle. Not outside, inside. At 14, she found a way to cope. Control through pain. Razor blades against skin. Quiet, hidden, ritualistic. Each cut, a release. Each scar, a translation of feelings she couldn't say out loud. Pain became language. I felt real, she later admitted. Not happy, not healed, just real. She hid knives in her room. At night, the world slept, and she fought herself in silence. Therapy came, but healing didn't come with it. The cycle continued. Even as she stepped into the spotlight, even as cameras captured,
The scars stayed, covered by fabric, hidden by fame, but always there. By 16, she didn't just seek connection. She consumed it. A relationship so intense it bordered on self-destruction. She described it chillingly, like practicing death together. Love wasn't safety. Love was chaos, violence, emotion, extremes. And when it ended, it left her hollow. She dropped out of traditional school, finished her education remotely, then turned to acting. Not for fame, for escape. Lee Strasberg Theater Institute became her refuge. On stage, she could bleed and call it performance, cry and call it art. Her pain became her power, but it came at a cost, because no matter how far she went, one name followed her, Jon Voight. It opened doors, but it also chained her to expectation. Was she talented, or just his daughter? That question haunted every audition, every role, every step. Her early 20s spiraled. Dark clothes, dark thoughts, a persona that dared the world to reject her first. She became unpredictable, dangerous, unfiltered. Then, 1995. A shift. Hackers. Not a box office hit. But it didn't matter. Because for the first time, she was seen. And that visibility? It changed everything. Fame didn't arrive gently. It crashed in. By the late 90s, Angelina Jolie wasn't just rising. She was exploding. Gia proved her depth. A performance so raw, it felt invasive. She didn't act. She unraveled on screen. Awards followed. But so did consequences. To access that pain, she had to relive it. Then came Girl, Interrupted. And everything changed. At 24, she stood on the Oscar stage and won. But the moment people remember wasn't the award. It was the kiss. A single moment. That reshaped her image overnight. Hollywood doesn't forgive unpredictability, even when it's brilliant. And then, chaos returned. Billy Bob Thornton. A relationship that burned fast and publicly. Blood vials. Wild interviews. Intensity without limits. To the world, madness. To her, recognition. Someone who matched her darkness. But even that couldn't last. Because you can't build stability on chaos. Behind it all, the truth was darker. She admitted something chilling. She once hired a hitman, not out of drama, but because she couldn't do it herself. He told her to wait. 1 month. She did. And something changed. She chose to live. Not for fame, not for love, but eventually, for something else entirely. Because what came next would either save her or destroy her. And it began with a child.